Hello and welcome to JoyRide with your hosts, the Metaphysical moms, Tiffanie and Kerry. JoyRide takes you on a spin through all things spiritual and soulful, including holistic healing, energy work, and personal development. Now, here are your hosts, Tiffanie and Kerry.
Hello.
Hi, we're back.
Take two.
All right. So we also decided to make some really hot tea. Yes, I'm sorry, guys. This is so weird. It's so weird being out of the studio.
So welcome to the JoyRide Show. I'm Tiffanie.
And I'm Kerry Walker.
And Wendy Hutchinson.
Hi.
Hello. I can let you talk for yourselves.
Not yet. I can speak for myself.
And we are in our home studio today. Producer Bobby got food poisoning in the middle of the night. So the show must go on. And we're here in Kerry's lovely living room with our JoyRide Show. February 20th. 2018,
yeah.
Show number 85.
85 shows. Isn't that incredible?
Amazing.
And if you want to find the first, I don't know, 40 something or maybe 50 are on our website, joyrideshow.com. And most of them, and there's also a blog that sort of went with it. We kind of quit focusing on that as time went on.
We've got Emma and Peggy and Margaret. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for coming back, because our first take we were sideways and we haven't done a home studio shot like this before. But
no. And Emma, we're having your tea, by the way.
Yeah, this is your turmeric, lemon,
I added turmeric,
ginger,
cinnamon,
honey tea. It is so delicious.
Yeah,
it's so good for a morning wake up tonic.
And I laugh because it's every time last time Jeff was here, he said, "Why do you always have things brewing?"
I know, we always have some kombucha brewing and teas and elderberry syrups brewing. Cheers.
Yeah, salud. It's really hot.
Yes.
It's like really
cheers.
hot.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for
Thank
tuning
you.
in.
And I'm not going to drink it. It's really hot.
I'm going to give it a
My
minute.
Fur on the tongue hot. Yes. So today we have so much going on, and we were talking about what it's like to be human, and how getting outside of the experience. And we all hear that we are soul spirits here playing a human part, but on this side of the veil we don't know that. I mean, we only know what we know. We only know what being human is like, and so to get outside of that really is fun, because I think that it gives you that perspective and you just don't take things so seriously. So Wendy last night, I called her and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you'll never guess what I got in my meditation." And we just started talking. I said, "You know what, this should be the show." And then Tiffany's like, "Yes, this should be the show, because you've had your experiences recently." And so that's what the show is about. How to
the ultimate virtual reality game that we're in. I mean, who designed this? Where everything is just so real.
Yeah.
And yet it's not. It's just energy. It's just energy in a solid state that we're perceiving as real. It just blows my mind when we think this is a virtual reality game. We take it seriously.
Because we don't know anything else. I mean,
wow. Except for people who are able to tap into other realities, past lives, speak with spirit, who kind of go, "Oh,
There's something else.
There's a lot going on behind the scenes here."
Behind the curtain.
But yeah, peeking behind the curtain today. So that's what today's show is, peeking behind the curtain of being a human.
Yes. And so yesterday I meditated, and the way I do, I'm very clear that I don't do it the way everybody else does it. Well, probably a lot of people do the way I do it, because I think stilling that mind is not always easy for me, so I've just learned to roll with it. And my guides were adamant that you are not human, and get outside of it. What does it mean to be human? And I love what you said. Describe what you think being a human is. The characteristics of human.
Well, I think if you're living a human experience, you're living from that human aspect of self, you are a very linear thinker. So everything has a chronological order to it. Mm-hmm. Everything fits neatly in a box. We like order. We like to understand how things work. We want to categorize and separate everything.
Label it.
We label it, we box it. So whatever experience we have, we overanalyze to death, so we know what box to drop that experience in. And the difficult thing about that is there's no creativity. There's no unconditional acceptance. There's no unconditional love, because you're always looking for that human compartment to put your physical and visceral experience in.
You know, I used to say, as I got older, I would say, oh, this person reminds me of that person, and this person reminds me of that person. And so I would like a person because I knew that type. And it's like, oh yeah, I had a bad experience with that, so we're not going to play with that person. But that person reminds me so much of this old friend of mine that they must be. And it really did cut off so many potential friendships.
It creates separation.
Yeah, it does.
Is what it does. When you live from that space, in that 3D place, it creates separation because you are trying to separate and categorize and filter everything and everybody. So instead of creating connection, community, oneness, we create separation. Are you gay or straight? Are you Muslim? Are you Jewish? Are you Catholic? Are you spiritual? Are you atheist, agnostic? We're always looking for that label and category, and by putting those labels and categories on people or experiences or places or whatever, we're creating separation.
Well, or, I mean, I think that the reason we probably did it to begin with was I identify. Like, for example, if my children are at a new school, you want them to play a sport or to be in band or whatever it is because they walk in and they automatically have that playing field with that group.
Sure.
So I see why we do it. Mm-hmm. It's to create cohesiveness. But I think now we're in the world and we're wanting more expansion and we're wanting to bring other types of folks into our lives because it is just so boring when you're around the same people every day, all day long, or people that are just like you. I don't know, y'all.
Well, it is interesting because we want the tribe mentality. We feel safe in numbers. We want people like us to be validated. We
Conformity.
We crave that.
Conformity is huge.
Yeah.
People want to fit in, and we're programmed to do that.
And you don't feel safe if you don't fit in.
Yeah,
if
we were talking about this.
You won't survive.
Yeah, Kerry and I were talking about this. How like I was always like the other. I was in like the other category.
Right.
I wanted to be with the pack. You know, you want to be accepted and liked in high school, and you want to dress like everybody else. Okay. And if you're like the other, if you're different, it's difficult.
So these are basic human like survival instincts that we have, but then we have this higher calling to be individual, to be creative,
be who we came here to be
expressive, and I think often we're intentionally put with a family that's not like us at all to create the contrast, which creates all this growth and expansion that sometimes is so painful, but that's exactly what we came here to do.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
So hard.
I don't know. I think, and it was really funny. We were at the beach, and I see these pack of teenage girls walk, probably 14, 13. Same shirt, same hairdo, same. I mean, and my niece, Kat, don't get mad at me for but I remember looking at her sorority page. I was like, oh, that's her. No, wait, that's her. This is somebody I love, and she is just my daughter. And it was like, whoa, oh my God, I don't recognize her because everybody looked alike. But I do believe that is like, maybe we come together to conform so that we can then go off and do our own thing. I don't know. I never fit. I had friends in all groups. I never always bounced around. I had like a couple of my really good friends, and then I had friends in all groups.
Yeah, and I think what happens is once people start to kind of wake up, and by waking up, you have an awareness that maybe you're perceiving things differently from the people around you, or you think differently, or you start to approach your life differently. You're starting to notice synchronicities. You're seeing repeating numbers, or you're whatever it is that's causing you to wake up, or you're reading material that's really resonating with you. All of a sudden, you're like, wow, I really am the other. I really am alone. I am the other over here.
And that's why we created the JoyRide and the show, is to have, now we have this virtual internet and community that we can do across the globe to kind of bring our others together and share these similar experiences of knowing you're a human and living that linear, compartmentalized life, but incorporating this spiritual higher self that wants to include and love and learn all these lessons. So at least I hope that's why you guys are here.
Well, no, I mean, I think that was part of my thing is I often say this. I had this misconception that in order to be enlightened or in order to be spiritual, I had to look a certain way. You know, like you don't shave, you smell like patchouli, you change your name, whatever it is. And But then I realized that's just changing one box for the other box.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so it's doing it your own way.
Exactly.
And you have to do it your way.
Because
whatever
it's
that looks
your
like.
path. And only you can travel your path. And it's not going to look like Tiffany's path or my path. Or your path is designed specifically for you. So it's really important to stay in your lane. Don't compare yourself. Don't compare yourself in how you meditate. That's another thing. People feel like you have to be in a lotus position with incense and om, and no. You can meditate in the mountains. You can meditate on a spin bike. You can meditate through channeled writing. You can meditate being completely active, but finding stillness inside.
Hi,
Oh, we have a visitor.
We have deaf cats.
But
and they're really loud.
I'm in a family with people who are not on this. I love them, but they're not on the spiritual path.
They're sport
And they're analytical. Their mindset is I have had to understand and appreciate their point of view, what they're into, what turns them on, what they want to be up to create this harmony in the house. It can't all just be my way. I can't only see it from my way because I'm in a smorgasbord of people.
And you chose that.
So it is interesting to walk your path, but also see all these other vantage points. Does that make sense?
Yeah, have you
Wanna say
realized?
hi to everybody?
Hi, Birdie. Yeah, it
Hi, Steve. Hi, Melanie. Oh, hi, Birdie and Sarah. Thank you, Sarah.
Sarah.
Hi, Daryl. I have a piece for you, Daryl, that I need to talk to you. Donna.
and my
Hi,
mother's coming to
Denise.
see you today, by the way.
Denise got her she got her message from her family when we were all at dinner. I didn't realize that was you when we were having the reading with Emma, that was your family we were connecting to. I was so excited when I figured that out at the end. Hi, Peggy, Jody, Melissa,
Melanie.
Trisha. Hi, guys. Pauline and Emma.
Hi,
My gosh,
Sue.
it's
I
so
love
good to
Sue.
see you
Sue
guys.
is the sweetest things.
I know we're from all over the world here, and that's what we're talking about, joining our tribe together so that we can, I don't know, sometimes my psyche just is like, what am I doing here?
Oh,
I don't know what I'm doing here, and then other days I'm blissed off the planet to be here having this human experience. I'm all over the place sometimes.
yeah, but there are times I call you, I'm like, I'm beginning to believe this, and you're like, why not? That's just one other reality. I'm like, yeah, but there are aliens and beings. You're like, why not? And I love that. And so I think that support really is cool, and it's key, and to help somebody, to have somebody say, to have this experience, or I'm trying to do this experience, and do you have any tips? But I do also know that I have my office is right up there. That's what I'm pointing at, and I have so many books. I'm like a book addict, but at some point, it's interesting how you put the books down. It's like that's someone else's perspective, and ideally, you go inside, you figure out how to connect to source, yourself, higher self, all the above, and you start getting the answers. And it's not Kerry's way, your way, Tiffany's way, anybody else's way. It's your way, or the experts' ways. And it seems like the experts...
It's not outside.
No,
It's
Never.
not outside of you.
That's hard, though, because it's easier
Well,
to
I
defer.
think like I said, the conditioning and programming is always to follow a guru, follow a religion, follow a doctrine, follow our family's expectations. Where nobody says, hey, be the highest and best version of you because you're awesome. You came here to do something very specific for humanity. You have a role to play, and it's up to you to find out what that is and flourish.
I think people
Who
do
says
say that.
Not
People
that
do say
many
that.
people.
Life
You just don't
coaches
hear it.
say
Well,
that.
yeah, but you don't necessarily hear that from your family as you're
You don't
growing
believe
up.
it. You don't believe it.
Yeah.
Do you ever life coach kids? I'm kind of going.
I've never life coached kids, but I
Yeah.
have life coached millennials, but
I'm
not
just thinking my
younger
guys are
kids.
starting to get into their teenage years, and
Yeah.
as a parent, I'm trying to coach them. But I'm wondering what it would be like, to have a life coach.
Yeah, I'm open. I'm open to coaching.
Wendy is Alinea Life Coaching.
Yeah, ALINEA lifecoaching.com.
And she's also a Markonix energy practitioner that we're going to talk about some of your Markonix
yeah.
soon here.
Guess who's on? I'm sorry.
Who's on?
Lauren's on. My niece is on.
Hi.
And she is the most incredible human being. And she is just walking the path. And she has
Aw,
babies. And she
love
has, oh my gosh. I'm so excited. Hi, Lauren.
I love our little get together, so I want to pour you all a cup of tea so you can sit here with us and and chat
Burn your
and
tongue.
chime in. Let us hear what you guys are going through. And
Yeah. Can I talk about something?
Please.
No, we don't want.
Real quick. So I want to talk about how our planetary alignment is affecting our reality.
Go for it. That's good.
So what happened is the Earth went through a 26,000 year cycle. 2012, we completed a 26,000 year cycle and came back to our set point.
what does that mean?
That means it came back to the positioning, multidimensionally.
In the Milky Way?
It completed its
Cycles.
cycles.
So,
Okay.
like you say, we're in the age of Aquarius. We're in the age of
I see.
Pisces.
Yeah.
So what happened was so for a long time we were kind of under the Milky Way and we were in a lot of lower vibrational energy. We had access to energies of other planets that were lower vibrational, then we came back around. Now we are above the Milky Way, and that opened up from an alignment standpoint access to higher vibrational energies, higher dimensional energies that have lifted and allowed us to receive higher vibrational frequencies, hence the ascension of our planet and the ascension of humanity. So what's happened is, as we're going higher, as the frequencies of Earth are raising, the inhabitants' frequencies are raising with it. However, there are a lot of unconscious people who don't realize that these struggles that they're going through right now are resistance to the changes that are happening vibrationally.
Mm-hmm.
Are you getting sick repeatedly? Are you in chaos? Are you suffering? Is your world getting thrown upside down? Or do you feel like you're being shaken and taken down to the core of your soul? That is for you to wake up.
And what does it mean to wake up?
Waking up is accepting that these are experiences that are not happening to you. They're coming up for you to release. They're karmic ties with people in your families, relationships, work relationships, environments that need to change. And we need to allow these things to come up, to get shaken up, and to be released so that you can step into the next vibrational frequency, the next version of you. The harder you resist, the more tightly you hold on to what you feel is comfortable, the rougher your ride is going to be.
It's like the movie Contact, when the chair, you know, they're like, no, you're not supposed to have a chair in the capsule, and they bolt the chair down, and the chair just, and finally, you know, she lets herself out, and then finally the chair breaks free, and it's like, oh, there we go.
That's exactly what it is.
So
Yeah.
I know that recently a couple of things have come up for me that have just sort of knocked me out. But instead of, and it takes a little while to realize that's what's happening, and then it's like I turn and I look into it and I think, okay, what's the lesson here? What is this bringing up for me? Because this is not pleasant, and I don't like crying all the time, and I don't, you know, whatever it is, or being just really angry, and it really does release. And once you really go inside and do the work and dig around, it'll release. And it's usually something that has been rolling around in there for quite a while. So that is, anyway, so that's well said.
Yeah, thank you.
So Jessica has a new listener. Hi, and she's saying the Mayans knew this. Oh, Pauline was saying the Mayans knew this. I guess it's that cycle.
Yes.
The Mayan.
The Mayan calendar is when it ended. Is when that 26,000 year cycle ended. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
That they had contact. But hi, Jessica, first time watcher. And this is girl kitty or boy kitty?
This girl kitty.
They're deaf, so
So they don't.
there's another boy one. You'll see a twin coming up here in a minute.
Sleep somewhere. Anyway, so they have. So I love the way you put that, and I think the cycle, because I did at one point think, why is everybody seems to be waking up? You know, and I don't think it's just a trend. I don't think it's just a cool necklace you're wearing with a tree of life on it, or a, you know, people seem to know, and these kids that come in, these babies just know.
They're completely awake.
They are.
Yeah, they really are.
They're coming in at a completely different vibration. They're already so vibrationally high.
Well, I always thought about that because, you know, we were raised sort of in a military, because I said so. I mean, that's just, and I don't know if it was my parents were really young, and it was easier, and it's easy to parent that way when they're little, but then as they grow, you have to teach kids how to think for themselves and how to critically think and come to those, the right decision, whatever that is for them. I mean, not, anyway. And I just remember thinking, why is it, because there was such a contrast in the way my brother raised his kids when they were younger and the way I raised my kids. And I thought, well, maybe it's just because I'm an older mother. And I think they just come in differently. And so the old mode of parenting, I mean, I think it's going to let your kids run wild.
It's going to force a change. It's going to force a change in our education system. Right. So what's happening with these frequency changes is our foundational structures are being stripped down to the core.
So
not just financial institutions, not just our political systems, our old traditional systems and way of doing things are not working anymore. And so you're getting people like Donald Trump in, and I know there's so much opposition to who he is as a person, but somebody has to come in and shake it up and create chaos and destruction before you can come in and create new paradigms and structures for society.
It's painful to go through that.
It's very painful.
It's like lancing a boil. I mean, that's not a fun thing.
Knowing what's on the other side of it too.
Yeah,
that's true.
Well, and that's another thing is
you have power to rebuild.
I think fear kind of holds people down, right? It's like, I just got to hold on to this 10-year relationship or whatever, even though it's just coming apart at the seams, when it's like, maybe it's time to just...
So how can we embrace that change that we say we're wanting when we're uncomfortably comfortable?
Mm-hmm.
How do we step into that? I mean, do you have to get to where it's just, I cannot stand it one more minute?
Well, the longer you resist, the more unbearable it's going to get, until you get to a point where you just cannot do it anymore.
Right. With a job, any relationships,
anything.
Your body weight, I mean, anything.
And then all of that stress is going to start manifesting in your physical body.
But do we have to get to that point?
It's up to each individual. Now there are individuals who are going to go, okay, this is super uncomfortable. Why? As soon as you start asking, why am I so triggered by this? Like, what is going on in here?
Mm-hmm.
That's your first step to awakening, because now you're kind of, instead of the lens facing out, blaming for your emotions,
right.
You start to turn the camera like you're taking a selfie, and you start looking in. And then once you start doing the work, that's the soul work, where you're going inside going, why does this relative trigger me every fucking time?
Yeah. Right.
What is it in me? Oh my God, it's judgment.
Yeah.
I'm feeling judged by that person, but I'm actually
doing the
judging and judging myself at the same time. And then boom, you just cut that tie and you just freed yourself. You just, you did that internal look. You owned it, and then wow.
And sometimes they're doing you a big favor by
they're showing
that
up
role
exactly as they
consistently, so you get a chance to figure it out for yourself.
And do you know how good that feels when you realize I'm not a victim? I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Life can't be this great. Something's going to happen, where as opposed to A, you roll with it. B, you realize life doesn't happen to you. Mm-hmm. So Miss Goodwin is saying that, she's talking about family. What I find challenging is seeing loved ones shaken to their core, yet they don't. Yeah, I know. And that is, there is a part of it that you just have to love people. I mean, for me, I just have to love people exactly where they are. And keep being me.
Nora's saying not everybody will awaken, and that's groovy too. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Completely accepting people for where they are and who they are.
That unconditional love without the label.
Exactly it.
And you never know. And again, and it's not changing who. I mean, I know there are certain folks I don't walk around and challenge them because I love them and I know where their walls are. But I'm still me. But I don't necessarily say, oh, yeah, I was in meditation and I was talking to my guides. I mean, they would look at me like I'd grown 4 horns. And I mean, they know these things about me, but you don't have to put it in their, I don't put it in their face. Do a horny guy?
No horny guy.
Oh, that's a bird on top of that one. Anyway, so I think that is tough because families can also represent old paradigms. It's like we do the work, I don't know, a lot of my family tends to just hold space for me too. They may not be really into what I'm into, but they love me and they will hold that space for me. And
I think it's important too for us to travel our path and allow people to travel theirs. Like, we don't need to ram our newfound awareness or beliefs down someone else's throat. They're going to come to that or not on their own, in their own time, you know, in their own terms. And I think what happens when people get newly awakened, they're like, I need to tell everybody about this. They don't really know. And then everyone is like, hey, you're crazy, and I don't want to hear this shit.
Yeah.
You know, so it's about really just staying in integrity in your lane for yourself.
More actions than words.
And doing your best.
And setting an example of how to transcend
lead
that.
by example, by your being, by who you are, by how you show up.
Mm-hmm.
You're creating more impact than saying, well, let me tell you.
Yes, but it is tough when you see someone that struggles, and you're like, okay, I can just tweak that for you. It'll be so much easier.
Yeah. But that's by choice. They're creating that. If they want to
true.
stay in that loop of struggle and drama, then that's something that they need to learn on their own. We cannot intervene. You know, we can hold space. We could love them.
And if they ask for help.
If they ask, or you can give your perspective, perhaps. But give your perspective with detachment. Don't expect them to like take hold of that and run.
Oh yeah.
You know, expect them to say, "You don't know what the fuck you're talking about." Turn away.
But even if you look at the three of us, and we're really good friends, and your path is very different than mine. Your path is very different than mine. I mean, we're all different, yet, and we all respect that we're on the path. You know, on a path, and I think the key is allowing people to be who they are. I mean. We have one common friend who is just incredible, and I love her so much. And I remember when I first met her, I was like, whoa, wow, you challenged me. And it was so cool to realize that no matter what, I loved her. I didn't have to, I mean, the door was open, and this is before I really knew a lot about aliens and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, whoa, that is incredible. And I don't know what I think, but I know I loved her. And so it's like it transcended. And now I'm on board with everything she's doing.
Unconditional love.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a really awesome place to be too. And so, okay, let's touch base with you guys.
So Joanne was talking about having a lot of circumstances in the last few weeks that have really made her very uncomfortable, trying to look within and do that change, but hate this knot in my stomach lining. Ooh, that's when you start tapping. That's when you start releasing the physical angst of it so that you can see clearly. So yeah, I just did a show with Emma all about EFT and tapping. Go check that one out.
And I think you're going to do a, I'm sorry, I think you're going to do a video on tapping on our website.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. We're amping up our website. We haven't really done a lot with it recently, and so we're coming up with some new
But I'm with you. Change is hard. This is hard.
So
having dealing with difficult people, especially when you're related and you can't quit the job, you can't
break up with the family.
You can't break up with them. I mean, you could move away, you could never, but there's that blood bond that we keep, and I think that's by intention.
But also, I
sometimes.
think people have to honor themselves, and if people are not respecting you, then you need to create the boundaries to.
Oh, I did that last night with my kids.
To tell people that you don't cross this line with me. We have every right to set energetic and personal and emotional boundaries with the people around us, because we all deserve to be treated with respect. Just because you're a blood relative doesn't mean you can shit on me.
Well, okay, so but that's
Exactly.
a good point. But feel that energy of not motherfucker. I mean, as opposed to
be that,
I know where you are. It's sort of like when your 2-year-old does something, and it's not personal. They're just being 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not saying that the relative is a 2-year-old, but I'm just how that feeling of I'm annoyed, I'm irritated, but I really love you. You know, and because I find that when I'm like,
I'm not saying an angry boundary. I'm saying you stand in your power, and that creates an energetic feeling, and people will respect you. People will know when you're standing in your power. People will know and respect you. You will have to say nothing. You show up fully standing in your power. People know.
We have one person that tunes into us sometimes, and he and I were talking, and he was saying that where he is, he's by himself a lot, and that people want to challenge his beliefs, and they want, And it's funny, I haven't had that in a long time, and I think it's because there reaches a place where they just say, oh, she's the one that does this, or she's the one, like they just know that's who you are. Mm-hmm. She breathes air. I can't make her breathe, anything else. And so I'll go to her for those things. And people started sort of, once, if they feel like they can get in there and muddy around, they will. Where there does reach a place where it's all, not all, but it's integrated and it's just who you are.
It's who you are, and then people see you.
Yeah, and they see that you look pretty darn happy.
Because you are who you are. You're standing fully aligned in your I am presence, connected to your higher self, to source, and no one can, one can take away from that.
Your brother is saying maybe you should rethink white cats and black pants.
You saw that right as I saw it. I have my brother and my niece, and probably my other niece. I love it's like a family.
Hi, family. We're not talking about you, and we're talking about
we were talking about you guys.
No, my family's wonderful. I have. Kelly had an interesting. Kelly, my brother, is amazing. He is, by the way, one of the most enlightened human beings I know. He just refuses to look at that, but and he had a
he just doesn't know it.
He's enlightened, but he doesn't know it. That's funny. No,
it's a secret.
He has just so many magical gifts. But he has a cat that they couldn't find for a long time. It fell in the water and it was living underneath somebody's for how many days? Like 14 days, living under somebody's something. No, he got him. He's good.
Oh my gosh.
That was crazy. I digress. See, there really is kind of a tea time. But where were we? Sorry. You were about to say something.
Yeah,
Joanne.
We were just talking about being human and how, but I want to talk about a little bit your energy healing and your Markonix, because you've had some really cool experiences.
It's been super cool.
And
yeah, so Markonix harnesses that higher energy, higher dimensional energy. I mean, 7th dimension.
What does that mean? Can you explain to those who don't necessarily?
Well, we're physically in this physical
three dimensions.
Tangible plane.
Talk to my brother.
You can touch
Kelly, this is for you.
Where you can touch, feel,
three-dimensional.
See and know. That's 3-dimensional. It's our real visceral world. And then when you transition over, you die, you leave the physical body vehicle, you go to the 4th dimension. Now there are frequencies, and every dimension correlates to energetic frequency. It's strictly an energetic frequency. So wherever you are on a vibrational frequency scale, that's the reality you can access.
So explain that. Go backwards. Explain that. So when you access something.
So say somebody is in, I'm going to give you an example. There's somebody who's just like a mess in your family, and they're drinking and they're doing drugs and they're drama and they're lower vibrational. They are very anchored and connected here to the 3rd dimension. That's what they know, that's their bandwidth. Mm-hmm. Then we have people who live, amongst us who are mediums. Their vibration is a little higher. They can connect to a 4th dimensional spirit realm and have conversations with them, and they can do readings. They can do mediumship readings like Emma or Sarah Kajawa or these other, mediums that we know. So they're connecting to the 4th. Because vibrationally they can come up to the 4th and connect. And the same is true as you go higher, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. The higher you go, up to 12, we are in a 12-dimensional matrix universe structure.
And we only usually access the first 3, or sometimes 4.
Sometimes 4, yeah. But with Markonix energy, because of our planetary alignment I talked about earlier, we can bring down the 7th dimensional energy and bring the human client and their auric field and plug them in and connect them to the Earth's auric field and that of the universe. And that creates alignment that you're not going to get anywhere else.
But what about the lower vibrational things they haven't dealt with yet that are now no longer in alignment?
So
those, process.
So karmic stuff is removed from the field. Not all of it.
You still got lessons to learn.
You still have to do work, but it's a leg up because you can just rise above and have some perspective. Mm-hmm. So instead of being in the drama, you're like watching it on TV and clicking changing the channel.
That's exactly the way it feels.
You have a different perspective.
It's like you're looking into it.
You're looking down.
So you can see the players, and you can see sort of the ideas behind it too.
Yes, you recognize the intentions, the patterns. You're like, oh,
it's not really about me.
That person's jealous. That's why they're treating me this way.
or that person's wounded and they're
lashing out.
I've hit that button with them.
Yeah.
So, I'm just imagining what that would be like. I have not had the Markonix recalibration. I know you have, and we have several friends that have had it. How would that? Thank you. How would that be as a human now to be plugged into those higher dimensional realities, yet you're still in the 3D world?
You're able to create different realities because you're at a higher frequency. So because you're at a higher frequency, your reality is a reflection of your frequency. So if you're at a super high frequency, all of a sudden you're creating experiences and relationships and things that are higher.
Kitty, don't knock over the tripod.
Can't hear you.
You know, better for you.
Kitty's deaf, can't hear.
I'm laughing. They showed me these really cute pigs flying by. They're like, you can create your reality. No, look at the pigs flying.
When pigs fly. When pigs fly.
No, it is what.
So is that where? Go ahead.
No. That what I find is that you have access to ask the questions. I mean, I think that's part of putting the books down, and I think it's part of. Georgia and Emma are both two of the most amazing folks to talk to, and I recently spoke with Georgia, and just incredible.
Georgia O'Connor is a medium friend of ours.
And my husband's dad came through and gave me all this advice, and the next day I was yelling at him about what I perceived as not good advice. And it was really interesting because I realized that it's not that I don't need it or that I can connect that clearly. I can't. I mean, they're both of those two are just incredibly gifted. I just don't need to. You know, it's like, because you can access the higher selves. Like
you're not going to get any information clearer than information you're drawing down from your higher self.
Yeah, but that's
clear.
Most people, it is for you because you've learned how to do that and how to access that and how to hear and how to ask the right questions. But it is easier to go to someone else, but then you just need more. Like you need more clarification.
But then you need to keep going back there, and yes, it's through their filters. So if you want absolute truth, then you foster and build that relationship with yourself by connecting, going in, connecting, meditation,
But I think too, most of the time when people call them, they're calling them for a very specific reason, whether it's through pain or it's through needing information, and so they don't want to wait.
And I know it's really helpful, but it's kind of like teaching the person to fish and feed them for a lifetime, then fishing for them and handing them a fish. Then now every time they want to fish, they got to come to you, and you have to reel the fish for them. If you can empower people and get people to do the work themselves, and by doing the work, I mean follow the trail of synchronicities and crumbs and clues. Your higher selves are leaving you clues all the time, and you're blowing by them because you're not paying attention.
That's true.
And when you get this angst or stomach turn, go within, clean it up, do the work.
Yeah.
Because
don't bury it. Don't start hitting the bottle.
That is your direction.
Or
that
rolling a blunt or whatever you're doing to like a joint, to whatever. To bury it, you have to actually feel it to release it.
So is that where we're going as a species, where we're moving into this higher dimensional realms? Is that where you think we're evolving to this now?
Yes, humanity's evolving. Yes, absolutely.
This is the shift. This is the
absolutely,
ascension.
and whether people are aware of it or not, those higher vibrational energies are coming down and hitting the planet. They're going into the core of the earth, and they're wrapping around and touching humanity.
Well, and you had said, I love the way you said it. You would, we were talking about the shift one day, and you were saying something. Say what you were saying, that you wanted to reach out to someone, and it was more about frequency. That it wasn't about like, oh, one day I'm going to wake up and I don't have to go to work, and I don't have to do this, and we'll have our own cloud with our own heart. I mean, it wasn't that.
Yeah, it wasn't kind of what people have perceived as heaven to be.
Good grief.
Yep. It's not like harps and clouds, and frequency just creates different realities, higher vibrational realities.
I can explain this. So my mother-in-law said, Kerry, I don't understand what you're saying, because frequency is sort of an enigmatic word. I said, okay, here it is. So I call somebody and I say, hey, would you like to go have a glass of wine? My friend's having a party. We'll have a nice dinner. Sure. So I take her to a place, it's a beautiful home, and interesting people and incredible bottle of wine, incredible food, and it's lovely. Or I take her to a place, a couple people are hitting the crack pipe, porn is on the TV, a couple people are over there doing something. You know how icky that feels? Like that feels like, ooh, I don't want to be there. Low vibrating.
Right.
Low vibrating. And so it's not a judgment, it's just no, I think I want to stay here. I think I would rather go somewhere where I feel pleasant and I feel engaged and I feel interested. And so that to me is a more of a concrete
Yes, that's
idea.
great.
Well, it's like the radio dial. You can tune over here and it's hard acid rock. You can go over here, it's light jazz. You can go over here, it's classical.
So we talked about like AM, FM, satellite radio.
It's just different frequencies.
Different frequencies, and that creates different realities, and it's exactly where people need to be at that time. However, you have the possibility to switch into the higher bandwidths by becoming the highest and best version of yourself. It's not like it's this magic secret thing. You find joy. Find joy in your life.
Well, and it doesn't mean
authenticity, alignment.
But I think for a lot of people, they think, oh my gosh, it's going to mean I can't drink wine, and I can't do this, and I can't do that. And what if I say the word fuck? And what if I, but that's not enlightened.
Those
I mean,
are all human, there we are. Those are human, paradigms and programs and boxes that we're creating. It can be
however you want it to be.
However you want it to be. What brings you joy, do it.
Right.
Right. Do what brings you joy. Do you like art? Take an art class or buy some art supplies. Do you like going to concerts? Go to concerts. Make a choice. Every moment of every day is an opportunity for ascension, for raising your vibration. Every moment, every choice you make impacts the
That's
time
exhausting.
It's not
exhausting.
Do
you bring me peace? Do you bring me
You don't have to consciously, every second go, oh my God, am I ascending or not? But do what resonates and feels like it's in alignment for you. Either things align with you or they don't align with you. Do what aligns with you.
Charlotte's always saying that. It's always saying in every moment.
No.
Well, in every moment, choose your higher vibe. Choose the thing that brings you the most joy without any attachment to it, without any expectation that it's going to result in something. Just keep moving, following those breadcrumbs.
And then pretty soon you're going to be so
and then the journey is joyful.
Yes.
It's the JoyRide. Oh my God, this is silly.
That'd be a good name for a show.
Yeah, no, I think that's true, and I think it's I don't know, this human thing can be interesting. Why is she shedding so much? Anyway, so
it's getting hot outside again.
Yeah.
It's Houston. All the things are starting to bud already. It's like that was winter. We're done.
I told Charles last week. I said, "Oh my gosh, we had 2 snowstorms." He's like, "What?" Like, honey, those are not snowstorms.
It iced one night. It's a snowstorm.
Well, I think that I had some interesting with my meditation. It was so cool yesterday because now here's another idea, and this is just a thought. What if, I'm not even sure how to go into that without going into a huge background, but what if there are humans, like humans, and then there are light workers that are here to assist humans in this waking up. And in order to be here as a light worker, you kind of had to jump on the karmic wheel and you had to start at day 1. You thought, I'm at the school anyway, I may as well learn Spanish. You're at the Earth is a university and we're here. And
but then you got trapped.
Well, then you kind of started buying into it.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, I just thought that was sort of an interesting idea of being, and that's what they kept saying yesterday. You're not human. Get out of the human mindset. Because it's very freeing when you're out of the human mindset.
It's so freeing when you don't live in the human mind. When you live completely in the heart, there's complete alignment and authenticity in everything you do. There's perspective. You don't have judgment. You release judgment and expectation. So you just allow everything to unfold exactly as it needs to unfold. There's not this relentless pursuit of something, of trying, of being, of doing, of acquiring. You just are being and allowing all this magic to come into your life. It's incredible.
Do you know, I remember a few years ago, this is before melanoma, I remember thinking, I got really depressed. And I thought, this is before I kind of started the path, I accepted the path. And I remember thinking, I have my children, a husband, my house, I've had my business. Now what? I mean, now, Kelly, you're going to laugh at this. It was like now an RV and I wait for grandkids. And it's like, that's what my dad's doing right now. He's in his RV. And anyway, and I'm sure when you're there, it sounds amazing. But it was sort of like I checked all the boxes. And so you reach a point where when it's outside and you're constantly striving, you know, when you're younger, you're trying to get into college or whatever route you want to go. And then you're constantly moving forward. And then what if you're there? Now what? Yeah. You know, that's an adjustment.
Also, what happens is if you're always trying to check a box or achieve something, when that something's ripped away from you,
your identity is in it. Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah.
If you are doing the work in here and putting all that energy and doing the work in here, and you know who you are, it doesn't matter. Everything can be stripped away from you, and you still know who you are. Nobody can take that.
That's an interesting thing. I remember one night my mother-in-law, because I either have kids or I have husband at home. Like someone will take the kids or my husband will go out of town. And one night I didn't have anyone, and it was the most disconcerting. It felt weird. It felt unanchored, untethered. So see, there's work to be done around that. So anyway, okay, so let's check in.
Yes. Does anybody have a question or?
Hi, Catherine. Hi, Dawn. Dawn and her husband are very interesting. Kelly, maybe, okay, no. So anyway, we're not on a normal JoyRide schedule. So
we're talk a little bit about Markonix, if that's okay.
Yeah,
we have a moment.
We have
Do we have a minute?
We have a minute.
Do you guys have a minute? An extra minute? So I wanted to talk about Markonix because what Markonix does is raise your vibrational frequency, but with your alignment, a lot of things sometimes can be healed. We're in ascension modality because we're raising and ascending the frequency, energetic frequency in your holographic body, which is basically your energetic field. But with alignment, things do resolve and release and get removed. So if you feel, I've had a couple instances where I've had clients who've been maybe experienced psychic attacks and have had attachments or things that they can't coexist with the frequency of Markonix, and they're just like, removed from their field. It's not the main focus of Markonix, but it's kind of a byproduct of it. Or they've had an issue that's been troubling them physically, and then it's resolved.
Okay,
because
so
of the alignment.
Do you mind if I go into that? So another way that my brain hears that is that when you reach a certain
frequency. So
if I'm upset, I used to go to Whole Foods, and for whatever reason I thought I had to choose a different grocery store, and so every time I was there I didn't really want to be there. I had to be there, and people would yell at me. I'm like, one time this man yelled at me out of the car, told me to get off my phone, and used not very nice words. But I attracted that because I was putting it out, and it looks for, it's like when you're in a bad mood,
it's a magnet.
You get it back.
Yeah.
And because it looks for ways to confirm that, and so you draw that back to you.
Yes.
And so what you're saying is when you now all of a sudden are vibrating at a higher place, the stuff that's low vibrating can't stick.
Exactly, because it's discordant.
Well, you'll still observe it. You'll still see it. It just won't.
But you're not triggered by it. You know, when you get a recalibration and we uncap the chakras. So let's talk about how there was a veil. The chakra field was nipped and capped. Nipped at the spine, capped in the front. So your chakra is...
So what did it used to look like before it was
completely open? You're completely open. You're recalibrated. Angels sing? No, it's like gears. The chakra field completely interconnects like gears and spins really fast and expands to the fullest expression once we take those caps off. The caps and the nipping of the chakra field was created so that people could come here and have the human experience.
Right.
And have that veil of forgetfulness of their higher aspects of self, of their soul,
by design,
of their majestic being.
Like our higher self said, I'm going to disconnect myself
to have
this
human experience and go through these struggles so we can have the soul growth and evolve from a different perspective, experience love from a different perspective. You know, the higher realms love is different. Here we can have love for our pets, love for our sibling, love for our husband, romantic love, intimate love. You know, there are many different aspects of love that we can experience here. And in the higher realms, love is a frequency. It doesn't have all that nuance and stuff, you know. So once we uncap the chakras and we pull out the 51% of your karmic stuff, your chakras are going to expand into the fullest expression of themselves. And once they do that, they're starting to interconnect, spin so fast that karma is going to come and just skip off. You are no longer creating new karma. That's a huge part of ascension. The problem was people living in the fear frequencies were responding to life in negativity, anger, depression, anxiety, jealousy, all these lower vibrational ways, and creating more karma. So the beauty of the Markonix recalibration is you actually get to a space where you're not from that point forward creating new karma. It's just skipping off your field. You're observing it, but you're not in it.
Oh, I still get mad at my kids.
But you're not, I mean, you're observing it, but but you can see also.
Yeah. No, it's true.
You have a higher perspective.
You do have a higher perspective. That's true. And you also learn that you can change. That's been one of the coolest things. I can change things around me by shifting it inside.
You become, that's what spiritual alchemy is. You are changing your reality.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that cool?
Because of your vibration and how you're responding to your circumstances. So it's spiritual alchemy when you can get to that vibrational place. The recalibration is a 2-session process. You do one session one day, another session I do it the next day, and that has to be done in person.
Yeah.
All I know is that I had read somewhere, I'd read somewhere about DNA and how we have 95% or 99% is junk DNA, and we, of course have our double helix, we have our 2 strands, and they were saying, oh yeah, we really actually should be able to access way more, and we've either devolved or whatever the reasons are. I'm not too sure. There are a lot of different ideas. And I just remember saying, that's it. That's what I want to do. I want to do that.
Activate my DNA.
I want to activate DNA, more DNA. I want to know more, see more. I want to have a broader perspective.
So your DNA is activated, and your chakra field, which is a 7 chakra field, turns into a galactic chakra field. And so you have a lot more chakras that are activated, and as they come online, your abilities and gifts are going to be enhanced as well.
That's true.
It's incredible.
Well, you emailed me the next day.
You know the timing of that.
Yeah, it was
synchronicity.
You wanted me to come in and we'll do a non-touch. I'm like, no. And we talked about this last time, but yeah.
So I guess we're saying the human experience can be what you make it. We can stay stuck in this linear, low vibrating, dense world, or the energies are there.
They're available.
Through different modalities. You do Markonix, you do tapping, you do your tapping into your field. You do automatic writing to talk to your guides. You get incredible information. So all of these are different, and I don't think one size fits all. It's going to resonate with other people, but there's so many ways to tap into this higher vibration that is calling us.
And do what resonates for you. You know?
Right.
Really lean in and follow your heart and follow the modalities that resonate for you, because everybody's different.
Well, and it truly is, what are you interested in? What piques you? What do you say? Oh, I'd love to get a book on that. I mean, that's what you're interested in. And that's...
Or go on Gaia and watch a cosmic disclosure video, or whatever floats your boat, you know?
That's true.
You know?
Well, there was something else you were saying. So talk about the no-touch. Because you offer 2 different...
Yeah, so the no-touch is that's a 1-session Markonix session. And during the no-touch, the one thing that's cool about being in person is that we create space. So your higher self, that etheric, energetic higher self, can physically integrate into your body. And when that happens, it creates alignment. So...
Alignment with...
with yourself, your soul, with your energetic fields, with the unified field.
What does that mean?
That means that you're plugged in to your, and completely aligned and plugged into your personal auric field, the auric field of the earth, and the auric field, or the aura of the universe. So you're completely energetically aligned.
Some people wouldn't even know what that would feel like. Like just to have a taste of that experience.
I know,
feel
people
aligned.
are surprised when they feel
And then when
it.
you get a taste of it, you're like, oh, there. Okay, so maybe you don't.
You
stay
get
there,
clarity when you're in alignment. You get
but
clarity.
you know what? It's a possibility for you. So I love when my mind is open. I'm like, I had no idea that was even possible. Now I can move toward it.
Right.
Exactly.
You know, you
to see
accept.
it first.
You accept what. Yeah, it's like when somebody breaks that 4-minute mile mark, all of a sudden it gives permission for everybody.
Anything is possible, is what you realize.
But we don't. I mean, Abraham Hicks will say you could grow a new limb if you guys knew you could.
Or a little bit
Yeah, the
before
only
I-
thing that holds you back is your belief that you can or you can't.
But I was talking to somebody about stem cells, and somebody had chopped off their finger, and they were able to grow back the finger cell by using these stem cells. And you're like, wow, that's what Abraham Hicks was talking about. So right now we're still using other cells,
Sure.
to kind of physically create.
But your
a new
mind
finger.
is so possible. It's so
But eventually
powerful.
we'll get there where
Yes.
we can just grow back our
Yeah.
own.
Yeah, you
Live.
can create
On
your
Lucy,
literally
maybe
create
Lucy.
your reality with your mind, with your expanded consciousness.
And the Masters of the Teachings of the Masters of the Far East is a series of books, and Montauk Chia, his books, they really talk about the human potential for us to walk through walls, to bilocate, to transcend the body.
to travel through Stargate Passage.
It's
There's so many.
it seems so
possibilities.
sci-fi in this time that we're in,
Mhm.
but it's becoming realities.
Yes,
If somebody would have
technology is
said,
catching up. Or,
I'll be able to talk with a
They did.
No, but if somebody says I can talk to somebody on the other side of the planet right now by bouncing this off a satellite, 50 years
50
ago,
years ago, they would have been like, "You're crazy."
you're crazy. But now if somebody says telepathically you can talk to somebody on this side of the planet, I'm like, oh, maybe we're not there yet, but the possibility
Yes.
is there.
Yes,
Well,
for sure.
That who did? I mean, I know I'm digressing, and I know it's not the point, but who did was Tesla. Tesla talked about that. I posted it on our Instagram account.
I saw that.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
It's so true. It's like you'll be able to interface wirelessly because you're plugging into.
And we just need to understand this is all energetic.
all of it.
It's about just plugging in energetically when you're in the right frequency. When you plug your plug into the right socket and connect, all these incredible things are available to you. That's what Markonix
So
helps you
getting
do.
into the network. That
Yeah.
I said that for years.
The no touch, I have to say, is temporary though.
Yeah.
It's just a
That's what I
couple
said.
of
You
weeks.
say it's a holiday.
Yeah, it's like a vacation.
But it gives, like I was saying, it gives you that taste of
Yeah.
possibility to say, oh, I didn't know I could experience this.
Right.
How do I move toward that on
Yes.
a more permanent basis?
Yes, exactly.
How do I integrate this? So just talking about this human experience and how it is infinitely possible to be whatever you want to be.
Yeah, and
And-
trust yourself. Trust what you get.
Yeah.
So many people doubt. Like, I just saw sacred geometry in my Fiestaware pantry.
Yeah. I was talking
Was that
to
really true?
a friend who
Yes,
said, I
it
see
was.
Celtic writing in the sky. I'm like, you probably do.
Yeah.
I do.
I remember one night I woke up, or I was taking a nap, it was during the day, and I woke up and they told me what it was yesterday. I woke up and I saw in bright orange across my wall, I looked at my wall, and there were these figures, like this
Symbols.
writing. I don't know if it was sacred geometry, this was, Miles was like 2 and he's 9, so it was a while ago. And I just remember thinking, what in the world? Yesterday they told me what that was. Their timing sometimes is just
It's
off.
7 years.
7 years later, we'll answer
You'll
that
get
question.
an answer, but
Yeah.
you forgot what the question was.
They said it was something I was doing, and when I woke up, it was just a remnant was there. It was sort of like
You were working on the field.
I was working
On
on
the
something,
grid.
and then when I popped out, it was still. I was just remembering it, and I know it isn't.
That's always cool.
But it is. I wonder, and I know folks can do it by dropping acid and doing different things, but how do you completely pull out of the paradigm and see what's possible? I know we've talked about this, but it's this idea of, okay, midlife is 40 something, we die, 100 is considered pretty old, and it's like we have all these, we look a certain way by the time we're a certain age, and it's like we have all these preconceived notions because society tells us that's what's supposed to happen.
Right.
But what if we didn't? I mean, what if you said, okay, you know what, eye bags, you gotta go, and face, you need to get back up there, you know? I mean, what if we could actually do that? What if we could actually, just because we believe it is the way it is.
You can do anything that you intend.
I want my ass to be like it was when I was 20.
Well, get on that.
I hate going to the gym.
Get off it.
I hate working out.
But okay, so when you think of all these monks that go into isolation in a monastery, and they have the same consistent routines, they have no contact with news and temptations and distractions that
That's
we're
their
all
path.
so inundated with. Well, that's one way to really focus on maintaining these higher vibrations.
Absolutely.
So what I'm trying to understand is, how do I do that while I stay here and I run my carpool and I go to the grocery
You
store?
do that with presence. You do that with intention. You do that with faith
Yeah,
and belief.
yeah.
Every day, when you're present to the moment that you're in, you know, when you're not present, when you're always 10 steps ahead of yourself, you are not centered.
Right.
You're always one misstep away from a fall.
Oh, I love that. That's
Whether it's emotional or physical, or
Right.
when you're not present, when you're always looking down the line to the future
Or the past.
or the past, you are missing the magic of this moment with your son in your van or your car right now, talking to you about their date, and that moment's going to be gone. If you're thinking of, I got to get to the grocery store, you have a doctor's appointment, I got to get the hockey stuff together, whatever it is, you just missed a magical moment.
Well, that's what Eckhart Tolle talks about. He spends 95% of his time in the now, and he'll have to pop into the future to do some planning, or pop back in the past to retrieve some information.
But when you are completely present in where you are, you have more of a foundation and grounded balance in your life. You're not going to be thrown as easily by the external experiences, you know.
That's true.
It's easier to say than put into practice.
It's a practice.
Well, especially
It's a
when you have
practice.
kids and so many moving parts to your life. I mean, I have to be in 4 places on Wednesday, so I need to really get on this bilocating thing because I can't figure out how to get it done. But it is.
Yeah.
You know, I know, and that is.
I'm not saying it's easy. It's like it takes so much time. It's not easy.
So what you didn't say, the judgment side of
Now
that,
you blink and it's done.
is that it is much easier to be enlightened, and I'm not saying easy, but if that was my single focus, and I didn't have children, and I didn't have these different things, it's almost like we said, okay, I need to do this and I need to do this, so I'm going to go ahead and come in, and I want to be a mother, and I want to be, you know, the placeholder, whatever, I want to be the wife, and I also want to wake up. I mean, because I think that if I lived in an ashram somewhere, if I was in Bali, or if I didn't have kids, I could fly around the world and do what I want to do. But I do have kids, and so it's you know, I don't know. I think that's sort of the eye of the needle.
But you're exactly where you need to be. Everybody's exactly where they need to be. You've dropped yourself exactly into the set point. You've
from this perspective,
you've
yeah. I've
dropped
been to
yourself
Montauk
there.
Monastery. I've
You've
had
dropped
visions
yourself.
of that.
Have you really?
We're all exactly where we need to be right now to do the work we're coming in
And
to
you're like,
do.
oh, let's go do this while we have a busy life. Let's go figure out how to bring
Does
this
anybody
in.
have a question or anything?
My thing isn't working.
Oh.
Hi, Brenda.
Well, if
So
you have
we're
a
just
question,
chatting away.
we'll answer it later if
We're
you have a
just
question.
chitty-chatting away here about life and love and our perspectives of it all, and I think it's so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's just so fascinating. I appreciate all your input and all your... I'm not wrapping this up. I'm just saying I
Well,
appreciate
what I'd really like people to do is love yourself.
That's so much easier said than done.
Love yourself. Love yourself. Give yourself the love that you so willingly hand out to everybody else.
But what does that look like?
And what that looks like is saying yes to you. Like, I was the worst. I was the worst at it. I gave my power away to everybody. You want me to drive carpool? Sure, I'll drive carpool. I'll go to my job. I'll be the perfect mom. I was this terrible, I'm a terrible recovered perfectionist. Like, the house was picked up, you know, my kids, you know, looked decent. You know, they were bathed and they brushed their teeth and stuff. But but it was really, really hard. I gave to everybody. I was last. I did not matter. If we were going out to dinner, my opinion didn't matter. Everyone else chose. A movie, again, my opinion didn't matter. You know, it took me till I was in my 40s, and I was actually in therapy, that my therapist asked me, what do you want? And I don't know. I couldn't even answer her. Like, nobody had even cared. No one had ever asked me. You didn't care. Well, nobody had ever asked me what I wanted, and I didn't value myself enough to assert what I wanted. And after you do that for so many years, you don't even know who you are.
Shuts it off, yeah.
And you don't know what you want. You don't know who you are. So it was really tough to acknowledge that.
Yeah. Well, and then the family has to move around because that dynamic, has been created, and that's not always it's easy.
That was such a moment of awareness for me. Like, I have not honored myself for decades. Who am I?
But then some people are the opposite. They're so self-centered. They don't care what anybody else is.
That's true.
It's very self-absorbed
and
not emotionally aware of their effects of everybody else. So you can go to the other end of that extreme.
I was way over here, and it was really took me a long time to come back to center. I had to like crawl back to myself. It was like slow crawl.
And you feel and
yeah, when you have kids, right? Because you have to.
No, I don't feel that way.
Well, when I was, my kids were your age, I did have a lot of guilt. Like, I'm not doing enough. I'm not a good enough mom. I'm not, I'm not doing enough to help. The mom guilt's the worst.
No mom is perfect.
I know.
Ever changing. I know when I do the tapping, the setup statement is, even though I'm going through this, I love and accept myself completely. And sometimes we start right there.
That's huge.
It's be like, I can't love myself.
That's
or I've
huge.
done this, or I didn't do this, or all these big butts in the way that say, there's no way I can love and accept myself. So often we do. Everybody's got levels of self-acceptance that we're dealing with.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, let's pay attention to that.
Okay, so based on that, because I remember doing that with you, and I remember thinking, but I was such a hot mess in my 20s, and I was I did naughty things, but now I realize that was just the fertile ground for me to be who I am.
That's the springboard.
That's the good stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
Being naughty is
that creates
fun.
who you are.
Yeah, you and I were talking about the piles of poop, and that's where the one flower comes out, because it's fertile, and I love that. And so I think that's that's why I say it sounds so easy.
It's not
to get
easy.
there, to even recognize that you're not there is half of it, I think.
Yeah, just awareness, like, wow, what did I do to honor myself today? Nothing? Well then, take 5 minutes, get a book, and go hide in your bathroom, lock your door, read for 5 minutes, do something for yourself. For 5 minutes. Even if you have to hide in the bathroom from your kids and they're like banging on the outside.
Mine have learned how to pick the
Go
lock.
hide for 5 minutes.
I'm like, you show me how to
under the door.
Take a cup of tea or something in there. I don't know.
Will you send your iPad back, Mom?
What's the Wi-Fi password?
Yeah, we made it too easy. What were you say?
No, this is fun.
Well, I think we're a little over an hour, and not that it matters, Bobby, but it is. This has been so much fun.
Thanks for tuning in.
Oh, Birdie, I love that, and I'm coming up soon, so I want to spend some time with you. And
Birdie's saying, I've been asking for the last few years, who are you and what do you want? Great question. You're awesome.
Oh, everybody. Anyway, thank you, and Brenda, hi.
Well, thanks for coming to our informal at-home studio JoyRide show with Wendy Hutchinson.
Hey, let us know what you think. We were thinking about possibly doing a call-in show. We found a way that we can do that at home, and that way we can talk to you guys. And what do you think about that? So anyway, yeah.
All right, so we'll say goodbye.
Thank you, everybody.
See you next week. Thank you for tuning in, and
we'll be back in the
like,
studio
share,
next week.
subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Have a great week. Bye, guys.
Bye.